Good morning slash evening, depending on where you live in the world. My name is Paul, and this is Cringe, and we are here to talk about the latest Nintendo Direct that came out in June of 2023, because she doesn't like American naming conventions, so I think we can all at least agree that it came out in June, unless you're telling me Australians don't even have a month system.
Oh, goodness. That would be very, very strange.
Next, you'll tell me that you say like 23, 4, 25 to like indicate what day of the month it is.
Oh, gosh. Hey, your American dates are weird enough for me that my brain can't process. So.
Well, I didn't make the rules, I just follow them.
Yes, very true.
So now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, what do you say we actually let the audience know about some really good stuff that's coming out?
Yes,
At
very
least
good
for
stuff.
us.
Yes.
There were a few things in the direct that nearly put me to sleep, but I wrote down the stuff that didn't put me to sleep and a few things that she really liked. And we're going to have a 5-minute timer so that we don't go overboard because we have a lot of opinions to share. It took us nearly a half hour just to start this call, so hopefully you'll appreciate the brevity, and when I upload this, hopefully you'll appreciate the fact that I don't like repeating footage, so
Yes.
yay for quality.
Yay!
Alright, so the first item we have on our list, which is something we already knew about, that's a bit of a pet peeve for me, was Sonic Superstars. It is a revival of classic 2D Sonic that uses what looks like a modification of the engine of Sonic Forces and Sonic Generations. It's the first Sonic game in the series to have 4-player co-op. It used to only have 2 back on the Genesis. Lets you play as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, and none of the zones are recycled, which Sega used to be in this phase where they always had to have throwbacks, and they're like, not this time, they're all going to be brand new. So, as you can tell, I'm the Sonic expert, but what do you think about this game?
I think it's pretty obvious. I got instant Sonic Mania vibes, but that's probably just because it's one of the it's like gone off by the originals and stuff like that. I believe I was told that Amy was not originally in the group, so this was an interesting take to bring her in. That's what I heard anyway.
Well, she wasn't originally in the Genesis games or in Sonic Mania. It wasn't until yesterday that she was added to Sonic Origins, literally exactly a year after the game came out. The only 2D Sonic game where she was playable was in the Sonic Advance trilogy. So this will be the first time in a mainline game that's not DLC since the Game Boy Advance that she's playable in a side-scroller.
Oh, okay, yep. Okay.
About time, right?
Yeah, I reckon. Like, been a while. Well, that's good. It's very pretty. I love the graphics. They are really gorgeous. They look really nice.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Sonic Generations looked fantastic, and that was on the Xbox 360. And as we all know, the Switch is way more powerful than the 360, so just imagine how much the tech has advanced since then.
Yeah, definitely. This is gonna be this is gonna be a very good game when it comes out, which is coming out in fall. I want to say fall, but I'm probably
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, it's fall.
Okay, good. So that's not too far away. It's only a
Yeah,
couple of
not
months
too
if you really
bad.
think about it.
Although Gamefly doesn't know how to list seasons, on my rental queue it says it's coming out on December 31st.
Yeah, that's how it normally goes if it doesn't have an estimated date yet.
Oh well. At least it's saying it's sometime this year instead of just saying to be determined.
Oh yeah, like that's so good that's coming out this year. I would think it would come out next year, but nope. Have this game in 2023. Thanks, thanks Sega.
Well, let's just hope it's not rushed like Sonic Origins was, or we're gonna be in big trouble.
I hope not. I hope it's worth the wait because it looks really, really pretty. So I hope it just looks really nice and the game is a lot of fun.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not comparing it to the other versions. I'm just gonna look at it as a Switch game.
That works.
That's my secret to liking most Switch games, is just seeing them as how are they better than Wii and Wii U games, as opposed to thinking how are they okay enough compared to PS4 games.
Yeah, yeah, that works.
So next up is a game that made Peggle groan and moan and throw a fit, and yet I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, bring it on. We've got Persona 5 Tactica. Now, if you guys watched my best games of 2022 video, you'll know that Persona 5 Royal was my number 5 game of the year. The two fives are a total coincidence. And I loved the Phantom Thieves. I loved that universe. I loved Persona 5 Royal so much I ended up buying it, which is a rarity for me, and I beat it twice. So to have another opportunity to be with the Phantom Thieves is just beyond incredible. And it looks like it's using similar gameplay to that of the Mario and Rabbids games. So that really helps. Apart from that, I'm just happy to see the Phantom Thieves again. And you, on the other hand, were like, ew, it's a strategy game, so therefore it's disgusting.
I
Even
mean,
though she plays Pokemon, which is also a strategy game, so hypocrite.
I think the only reason I got annoyed because I was like, man, we've already had a few Persona games. Can it take a break? But I don't think I commented at all actually on the gameplay. Like I saw it and it didn't register in my brain until my guests pointed it out.
Well, I think I know what you mean about like Persona games having a lot of presence this year, because we got Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden on the same day in early 2023. So this will be the third Persona game on the Switch in 1 year, assuming I'm not missing one of those, another spin-off. But honestly, I think it's a good way to branch out. How do I word this? Like, Persona 5 was known as the game that would refuse to come to Switch for so long, and when it finally did, it was the Royal Edition, which is by far the definitive version. And now we're getting a bunch of Persona 5 spin-offs, and we got Joker and Smash, and so it no longer has that stigma attached to it. So now that people like Persona because Persona 5 is by far the best, Atlas is like, well, why don't we bring the other games to the Switch? Maybe now people actually realize, oh wait, this was actually a series. It wasn't just a one-off.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever try it just because it's like Mario plus Rabbids, or are you going to be like, Paul's the Persona guy, not me?
Yep. You're the Persona. You're the Persona guy. I'll let you play it and give me your reviews on it.
Well, Persona 4 was painful, so I'm really glad that Persona 5 came along and made it significantly easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, since they didn't give us much to work with, shall we move on to a Pokemon announcement that was actually good?
Yes, not the DLC.
Oh, the DLC, that like literally made me want to fall asleep, because I was like, it doesn't even have voice acting. How can you advertise a big budget AAA game in a trailer using text blurbs? Anyway, to avoid getting myself on too much of a rant, Detective Pikachu Returns
Yes.
actually made me pretty excited because, one, it had voice acting. Two, it looked better than Scarlet and Violet. Three, Kaiji Tang is the voice of Pikachu in this game, who you all might know as the voice of Yasuhiro and Gonta in the Danganronpa series. And I just like Pikachu's personality, because I played Detective Pikachu on the 3DS. I was one of the few people that knew it existed. And I really liked it because it was like a beginner's Ace Attorney. And that was the main reason why I got it, actually. And Pikachu is just a gruff-talking, coffee-loving, flirting with women type of guy, and it's just a nice, refreshing take on the Pokemon's way too friendly to be allowed atmosphere. Like, you're telling me that they just faint after being hit by an explosion? Like, no way, that's too unrealistic.
Yeah.
Then again, a Pokemon that likes coffee and flirts with women is also unrealistic, but it's like more mature. You know what I mean? Like, it's not so over the top kid friendly.
Yeah.
So what did you think about Detective Pikachu Returns? Because you said you never played the one on 3DS, right?
No. Um, at first I thought it was like a Sword and Shield thing because I saw a Pokemon that was only from Sword and Shield, and I was like, is this a Sword and Shield like new DLC that they decided to pull out of nowhere? And then I didn't notice it. I actually, the minute I heard I didn't even think that it was a spin-off just from the voice acting. I saw Pikachu's hat and I was like, oh, this is coming back. Well, that's nice of them to do.
Hopefully the Detective Pikachu amiibo does more than just unlocking random quotes that he says, like it did in the original game.
Yeah. What sort of gameplay is Detective Pikachu? Is it like tactical?
You move around in third person and you like gather clues and evidence, and then eventually you'll like select which answer makes the most sense based on which evidence you have. So, like I said, it's like a beginner's Ace Attorney. It also had some quick time events, but you really couldn't lose at them. If you did, the event would just reset, or it would just like still complete, but it would just be like, I don't know, Detective Pikachu slips instead of making the jump perfectly. So, very ridiculously easy game, impossible to get a game over. Even if you got the deduction wrong, Detective Pikachu would be like, "No, just try again."
I love how
And
chill
no, it's not
Pikachu
the
is.
Ryan Reynolds voice. That is how Kaiji Tang did it in the original game. That is the original Detective Pikachu for me.
Yeah, lots of people were. I wouldn't say like lots. Maybe there was lots. Who knows? But a handful of people were like, "Man, I can't. I can never see Pikachu ever again without Ryan Reynolds' voice." So they're
Said
like,
people didn't play the 3DS game.
no, pretty much. So they're all like, "Oh, I wish Ryan Reynolds was doing it," and I'm like, "No, you don't."
No, you don't.
No,
Ryan
this
Reynolds
one
probably
sounds
doesn't
good.
say, "A bolt of brilliance," as cool as Kaiji Tang does.
Yeah, this one sounds really good. So it's good. When I was
Let's
when I was
pretend that you're
watching it,
not just. Oh,
when I was watching it, and once that segment finished, I was running over and I was telling my fiance about it, and he's like, "Does Pikachu still have a coffee addiction?" And I was like, "That's the last thing he said, that he needed coffee." What do you think?
oh yeah. Yep, it's still the same old Pikachu.
We love that.
So we just hit the 5 minute mark for that, so let's jump on ahead to Super Mario RPG, not even bothering to have a subtitle. It's just, hey, it's Super Mario RPG, so,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not differentiating that it's not a Paper Mario game or a Mario and Luigi game, which were also Mario RPGs. So, okay, Nintendo, you can't name a game to save your life. I was really excited about this because I remember thinking the original Super Mario RPG on Super Nintendo was pretty decent, and I got decently far in it. But I don't typically like Super Nintendo games a whole lot. I find that their controls are weird, the writing is. They're still getting used to translating Japanese words into English, and they just generally have a lot of arcadey isms to them. Like, there was one puzzle that involved you going to like 5 different rooms, and each room would give you a different hint, and if you forgot the hint, then you have to go all the way back to the rooms. And so I'm looking forward to this version maybe having like a notebook, or just the fact that the Switch has a capture button, just to make it a lot more convenient. It also has a new art style, and it actually has full motion cutscenes instead of just moving around in an isometric view. Hopefully it has voice acting. I doubt it, but they also didn't show any text blurbs.
No, they
And
did
it's
not.
like it's maintaining the square by square feel of the original. Like, it's still isometric. It's still like the same level design, just better graphics, which I have mixed feelings on. I think the isometric view was one of the worst parts of the game, made it very hard to do platforming sections. But hopefully with the analog stick having more freedom of movement than the SNES control pad, that'll maybe make it easier. What about you, as someone who hates Paper Mario? Do you think you'll try this game out?
I think I'm actually gonna get this. It looks very interesting, and 'cause I have watched people's reaction to this game online, and obviously first off they're excited because the minute they hear the music they know, you just know, and then they see and they're like, oh, because they assume it's a port, and then it changes to better graphics and everyone goes absolutely insane. Um, I'm
I
glad.
mean, what are you glad about?
Oh, I'm I'm glad that this game is brought to the Switch because one, it's a very popular game. People love this game, and it looks like a ton of fun. I've heard great feedback on it, and I get to see that one villain that everyone loves and has only appeared once.
Point is, she's a hypocrite if she picks this up because the original Paper Mario and Paper Mario 2 were way better than this, yet she refuses to play those games. So, is it because Geno is attractive? Is it because Bowser's in your party? What is it that makes you want to play this game more?
I don't know. The feedback on it is interesting, so I might give it a little test run and see how it is. Is it another tactical game? I don't know. It looks like it.
It's basically the original Paper Mario, but like the testing grounds for it, because Paper Mario was originally going to be a sequel to this, but after Nintendo and Square Enix had their big fight, they basically said, yeah, we're going to make it into its own thing, or even going to give it its own art style. So the biggest difference is one, the isometric view. You could have 3 party members instead of just 2, and the action commands icons don't appear. You get much bigger damage percentages because usually the most damage you'd be able to do in the original Paper Mario was like 11 points, or you can do like upwards of 300 in this one. So Paper Mario simplified the RPG genre quite a lot, whereas this one is, I mean, it was developed by Square Enix, so you can tell that they had the Final Fantasy influence going into it. In the original game, there was even a secret boss that was based on a Final Fantasy character, and if you beat him, it did like a Final Fantasy victory jingle.
Okay. Okay.
So we shall see if Square Enix returns for this, and I'm personally excited for the future of Mario RPGs, because if they're willing to bring in this game, which has some of the wildest and wackiest characters in Mario history, then maybe that means the future Paper Mario games will actually have original characters and good stories and all that.
Yeah, one of my guests said that maybe there's a chance that the Mario and Luigi games could come.
Well, we'll see. Just hopefully Alpha Dream is willing to pass it on.
Yeah, maybe, hopefully.
Speaking of Mario games, the next item on our list, we don't have much to talk about because the trailer was like a couple of seconds long. They're making a new Peach game.
Yeah, that looks so good.
It looks good, but there's not much to be amazed about because it looks like it's just a stage play. Like they took that one scene in Paper Mario the Origami King where Mario and Birdo were like dancing on the screen and they said, let's make a whole game out of it.
Yeah, no.
But no one thought I would compare it to that scene of all things.
No, it looks pretty interesting. I think cuz there are Peach games out there. Super Princess Peach, I believe.
Super Princess Peach, Super Mario Bros. 2 let you play as her. I don't know if that counts as a Peach game. But as far as a game that was like built around her, Super Princess Peach is so far the only one.
Okay, so I think the question is going to be: is this going to be called Super Princess Peach 2, or is it going to be Super Princess Peach and then have a line? I don't know.
Well, I personally think it's going in a whole new direction. As someone who nearly beat Super Princess Peach, that game was all about her harnessing the power of emotions to get through Vibe Island to rescue Mario and Luigi from themselves, because Bowser just took advantage of them being overly emotional to capture them in the vulnerable state. Peach happened to be like traveling during the time, so that's how she was spared, I guess you could say. And it looks like this is more about like dressing up and being like flashy and all that stuff. So it's probably just
Yeah.
taking the idea of let's make Princess Peach the star and figuring out what idea they're going to throw at it next, because Super Princess Peach came out in 2006, so it's long overdue for another one.
Yeah, I know a lot of younger females are probably going to be excited for this game. I know my sister was when I told her, because she loves Peach, so any younger generations are going to be very excited for this game, because Peach is very popular within the younger girls' age group.
Well, it's not just girls that like it. I know quite a few guys that say Super Princess Peach is underrated. But I think, I don't know, the power of emotions is something that girls like to see in video games.
uh,
I think when it was first unveiled, girls actually didn't like it because they thought it was making fun of them.
well,
But nowadays, people are just like, it's just a really fun and creative platformer. And nowadays, there's like, oh, men can have emotions too. So times change, don't they?
yeah, I guess.
So we can't really drag that out too much more.
No.
So they had yet another Mario game, sort of, and that they're porting Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon to the Switch, which currently it looks kind of rough in the graphics department, but so did Luigi's Mansion 3 when it was first revealed, and now everyone says it's like the best looking game on the Switch. So give it time. They said it's a 2024 release, so they probably have plenty of time to polish it up. It also means that the Switch is going to have games in 2024, despite what the leakers said. So don't always believe the leakers.
No, very true. No, I think this was a highlight, 100%, because I love Luigi's Mansion 3. I think it's a really fun game. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this. This is a day one get because I think, well, my opinion on this was, why are they bringing in the second when they could bring in the first? But what do I know?
They probably figure we already put the first one on 3DS. Go buy the old system.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's probably the same reason why they haven't remastered Path of Radiance or F-Zero GX, is they're like, just go buy the old systems, will ya?
probably, yeah. Now the
You
Switch
didn't
is really good.
support us back then, so we won't support you now kind of logic.
Yeah.
I did. I got Path of Radiance back when it was popular, and now everyone is like, oh my gosh, it's $150. It was $40 when it first came out. That's how you know that Fire Emblem games were actually good back then.
Yeah. This
How
is
did we get
really
on to
exciting.
Fire Emblem of all
I
things?
don't know. No, I can't wait to play
uh,
it. I'll definitely play this.
well, as for my opinions on Dark Moon, I thought it was okay. Just at the time, I didn't like the mission structure and the save system. I liked how the original Luigi's Mansion, well, I didn't really like how that game saved either. But it was more open-ended. Like you had one mansion that you could explore, whereas that you had multiple mansions and there were like different missions. And it felt very much like a byproduct of the 3DS's limitations. So hopefully they're willing to, I mean, you can't really do much about the mission structure, I suppose, but maybe if they add in something like an autosave, then that'll at least make it more bearable.
Oh, that would be very good if they do that.
There's a lot of games that need autosaving.
100% agree on that.
So this next one is something that you have a lot more experience than me with. They announced the Batman Arkham trilogy is all coming to the Switch because apparently no one bought Arkham City on the Wii U. And they're like, yeah, we'll forget that that ever happened and just give you the whole package.
I am one of the people that actually played Arkham City on the PlayStation 3. So I was ecstatic the minute I saw the Batman picture. I instantly knew that it was at least Arkham City um, that was coming, because that's the only one I've played. I've not played the other two, which I'm kicking myself. I really wanted to, but now I can't. So I'm like, yes. I loved Batman Arkham City. It's one of my favorite games on the PlayStation. It's just so much fun, and it really gets into the dark side of Gotham City and Batman. It can really show you, like, man, DC is really, really dark. Um,
Yeah, literally and figuratively.
yeah, yeah. So I at first thought it was Arkham City, but then there were some bits that I was like, have I seen? Because I haven't finished Arkham City, so I assumed that it was showing bits that I haven't seen yet. But then the music was getting higher, which I love Batman's Arkham's music. I think it's really good. and then it showed Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and then the can't remember what the other one was called, and I was like, oh, they're bringing in all three. Let's go! I was so happy. This is gonna be a day one grab as well because I love the series and it's so good. The Arkham games are one of Batman's most popular games, so very
And they also
excited.
said all the DLC is coming too.
Yeah, the DLC. I was like, yes, heck yeah.
One thing I am curious about is that Arkham City was on the Wii U, and I did play it for a little bit, and I thought it was pretty neat. I thought the voice acting was great. I really loved the atmosphere. I liked the semi-open world approach. I did get stuck on a few of the puzzles. But the Wii U version added a mode where you could like store up hits and then like have more powerful hits later. It sounded like it was totally a gimmick just to be like, hey, here's a reason for why it's on the Wii U. So I'm wondering if they'll like add that stuff into it or if they're just going to be like, forget the Wii U version ever happened and we'll just make it a straight port.
Who knows? Who knows? What happens? I just can't wait to play this game again because my PlayStation 3 is up in my wardrobe, just hanging in there collecting dust. So I can't wait to buy these.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to try them again because I've tried Arkham City and Arkham Origins, and both of them ended up being too hard for me. Maybe it's because it's dark. Maybe, like, not dark in the figurative sense, in the literal sense. Like, it's too hard to know what you can interact with and what you can't. But who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? Maybe they'll have a bright option for you, so you can turn up your brightness.
That would be nice. Speaking of bright and colorful, the next item on our list nearly blinded me with its bright colors. We have Penny's Big Breakaway, which is a new IP that was made by the developers of Sonic Mania, which, if you don't know, Sonic Mania was comprised of a bunch of Sonic hackers that Sega officially endorsed to say, like, hey, you guys are so good at making ROM hacks of Sonic games. How about we publish you making an official one? So now they're like, okay, let's make something brand new now.
Mm. Yeah, now I'm
So that's
actually
the main reason
looking
I'm
back
putting
'cause I
this on
can't
the
remember
list,
this.
actually.
I actually could not remember this game on the direct, so I went to go back to look and see which one was this one again. It's the yo-yo one.
Yup.
Yeah,
Basically, she's turning into Ness.
this looks adorable. This looks adorable. I think it's a very cutesy looking game.
It does kind of remind me of the Tori games, which were 3D platformers that had really good controls, but it was like a throwback to like old school 3D platformers. So I think if the Sonic Mania team proved that they know how to handle two-dimensional platformers, they can probably do this one really well. However, it's an early 2024 release, so we've got a lot of time to wait for it.
Yeah. Yes, we can wait. We can wait for quite a while. This looks good. I hope it's a success because it looks very cute and very adorable. So I hope it does well.
Very cute and very adorable equals success. That's Peggle logic. Put it on a tombstone.
Yep.
That means that all the Barbie games on the Wii U were amazing by that logic. I almost did a review of one of the Barbie games on the Wii U because my friend Nick and I tried to torture ourselves, but at the last minute he was just like, Paul, I just can't do it anymore.
Well, what do you think? Do you think this game is going to be a success?
I think it'll be better than Barbie's Dreamhouse Party.
That works.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty good because, like I said, the Tori games are really good, and it looks like it's going to be better than that. I've also heard a lot of people compare it to Hat in Time,
Yeah.
and that was a pretty decent platformer. Banjo-Kazooie is like the quintessential 3D platformer, so hopefully it will like draw off of that game's success as well.
Yeah, I think I'll actually realize now a lot of people actually mentioned a Hat in Time with this game, so I think a lot of people will get this mainly because, you know, they loved Hat in Time and they want to see how this game plays out.
Yeah. Well, let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
So moving on, we got a brief teaser of Wave 5 out of 6, so we're getting to the finish line. of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's DLC. They didn't show much, as usual. They love to just give us teasers. But apparently, they are letting people race around over a toilet as the new course. And they're adding 3 new new, as in returning characters. Petey Piranha from Mario Kart Double Dash, Wiggler from Mario Kart 7, and Kamek from Mario Kart Tour, who was originally going to be a character in Mario Kart 64, but they swapped him out for, I think, Wario was the one they replaced.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
I could care less about new characters, so for me, I think the new course was the highlight because, my gosh, they have finally gotten to the point where they're actually making the Wii U version's courses look obsolete because it looked utterly amazing. Like, with the whole booster course pack so far, at first I thought they looked like trash. And then as they went along and kept saying, okay, they're better, but the Wii U courses still look better. Now I think they're at the level of actually surpassing what the original Mario Kart 8 did.
Yeah. Now this game's gorgeous. I'm excited for the. I am one of those that are excited for the characters because I know Petey Piranha and Wiggler are very popular characters. Kamek, the minute I saw Mario Kart Tour, I was like, oh no, because I was making predictions about what characters could come, and I was hoping, I'm like, I don't think they're going to bring Mario Kart Tour characters. That would be really weird if they did that. And they should Kamek, and I'm like, well, there's a chance now. Because if they brought all 3, that means there should be 1 left. I
think there's actually going to be 2 left, if I'm remembering what the character slot looked like.
Yeah.
It would be weird if one of them was Rob.
Lots of people want Rob. I know a lot of people, though, want Diddy and Dixie Kong.
Or Funky Kong.
Yeah, or Funky Kong. People saying Funky Kong as well, so... We just want
New
one
funky mode!
New funky mode! No, the game looks... The map looks really, really nice. I didn't even realize that it was a bathroom until someone... one of my guests was like, that's a bathtub. We're swimming in a bathtub. And I was like, what?
Hopefully, you'll remember that it's the tile 5th from the top and 3rd from the right when you get into the shower part of it.
I hope in this wave they bring in some N64 maps because in the past couple they haven't. And I love my N64 Mario Kart, so I'd like some
Wario
others.
Stadium. Wario Stadium is the only Mario Kart 64 map that has never been remade or even ported into another Mario Kart game.
That's all I ask, and I will shut my mouth for the rest if you just put that in. I also want some Double Dash because I think they brought. I think they brought 1 Double Dash map.
I think Waluigi Stadium was one of them, but I don't recall any of the others at present.
Yeah, well...
One thing I never liked about...
summer, so... And it's...
Which is weird, because it's already summer where I live, so...
Yeah,
they did that with Kirby's Dream Buffet as well, where they were like, Summer of 2022! In summer of 2022, when it was announced.
Yeah, I think that just means that it could come in the next month or so. So... I'm just gonna assume that. Next month or 2.
Maybe they wanted to get the soap looking just right.
Maybe. So we could see this game this wave coming out very soon. I'm very sad actually that that's getting close because there's 6 waves, I believe.
Yep, that's right. So this is wave 5.
I'm actually really sad about that. I'm like, oh, this is sad because people have been getting so hyped about these new courses, and once wave 6 ends, it can be like, oh.
What I don't get, though, is why so many people are like, where's Mario Kart 9? And it's like, Mario Kart Tour and Mario Kart Live both came out after Mario Kart 8. You should be asking, where's Mario Kart 11?
Yeah, also, they kind of can't think at the time because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still so insanely popular that it would be really strange if they just bring in a Mario Kart 9. It'd be like, what's the point when Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is so popular and we're making so much money off of it?
I think it's actually the #1 selling game on Switch, which is saying something because it's a port of a Wii U game.
Exactly. So, if I was Nintendo, I wouldn't be releasing Mario Kart 9 anytime soon. Because
Well, milk it out for all it's worth.
if it's making money.
Yeah. Well, speaking of a series that doesn't make a whole lot of money, they're making another WarioWare game on the Switch, which I don't think anyone thought was possible, but then again, they made 2 Splatoon games and 2 Xenoblade games on the Switch, so we shouldn't be surprised at this point.
Oh my gosh, my reaction to this, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, are you serious? Like, after what happened with Get It Together, you're bringing in another one? But then I was like, well, actually, you know what? They realised their last game was a total failure, so now they're bringing in another one to see if they can fix that up.
Well, the irony is that I was the only one on the internet who thought Get It Together was terrible, and I got a lot of flack for that at the time.
Really?
But now that this was announced, everyone is saying, oh, after Get It Together was so terrible. It's like, I said that from the beginning. Why did you idiots need to wait so long to figure that out? It's just because a new one comes out that you retroactively say the previous one was trash. But like, you look at the reviews of Get It Together and they're all giving it like 8s and 9s.
Really? That's strange, because a lot of people I've heard said they don't like Get It Together, so...
Oh yeah, Get It Together was terrible. The Nintendo-themed microgames were okay, but I didn't like the multiple characters angle because it meant that the minigames didn't have the same level of polish as Mega Microgames or WarioWare Gold did.
Yeah, I did, I only got the demo of Get It Together and didn't like it, so...
Well, hey, if you really want a good WarioWare game on the Switch that isn't Get It Together, Mega Microgames is on Switch Online, and that game is phenomenal.
It was... This game, hopefully... It does look a lot better. I am hoping it does better, because Get It Together was terrible.
It also had that scene with Yoshiaki Koizumi, who's probably going to get memed on to death.
Oh yeah, he will. I think this is more about motion, more with your body. So, hopefully it is more popular with that.
Well, hey, at least it acknowledged Super Mario 64 DS. Not even Super Mario 3D All-Stars acknowledged Super Mario 64 DS, so that's a plus.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, with the last item on our list, let's give ourselves 10 minutes because it's the grand finale and because it's been so long. We wrapped it up, which also the Direct wrapped it up, with Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Terrible title, but everything else looks absolutely fantastic.
Yes, Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
My gosh. Like, I think this is a direct result of people saying the new Super Mario Bros. Games are too boring and too stale, and they're like, okay, we'll show you what we can really do if we put our minds to it.
Oh, I've looked back on this trailer quite a few times since the Direct, and I always smile about it because I'm like, this is great. I'm so happy.
I think what I like about it is it seems like it's going for the gimmick of every level is going to have something that's wild and wacky and out there, as opposed to just like, well, to give an example of what I mean, you take Mario U, where like you might have a certain type of enemy that only shows up for that level, or maybe like wind gusts that only show up for one level, but it looks like the graphics might change per level. It looks like it's gonna just throw out whatever idea it can, even if it's an unconventional, outside the box type of thinking. Like they saw one level where Peach was in the foreground and the others were in the background. Daisy's playable in a mainline Mario game for the first time since Super Mario Run. Most people forget that ever happened. So most people are like, Daisy's finally in a mainline game! Yay!
Yeah, I was pretty shocked. I was like, Daisy? Whoa!
And Peach is playable, not Peachette,
Nope.
but
Peach.
actually Peach.
Yeah,
they didn't
so-
have to retcon Peach into the game like they did in Mario U Deluxe.
Yeah, so when I saw Peaches here, I was like, okay, what's this game going to be about? Because, you know, it's all about saving Peach. So one of my guests said, we're saving the world. And I was like, you know what? I'll take it.
I'd like to think if they're going this experimental with the level design, maybe this one will actually have a story.
Let's hope. can only hope.
Let's really hope. Because Yoshiaki Koizumi, it's always Yoshiaki Koizumi. Like, he was the one that got Rosalina's storybook in Super Mario Galaxy because he's like the total opposite of Miyamoto on the story spectrum, where he's like always wanting to push for story. He wrote the script for Link's Awakening, he wrote most of the story scenarios for Majora's Mask. Miyamoto has kind of learned to resent him over time, but hopefully, if he just keeps pushing back, he will go with the original idea for New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which was to expand the lore of the Mario series. And Miyamoto was like, that's totally unnecessary. Just throw in a cake and have Peach kidnapped inside the cake and call it a day. And Koizumi's like, oh man, I wanted to make a grand weaving narrative, and maybe now he'll get his wish.
Hopefully, because um, can never have nice things from Miyamoto. So please, just give us a
Yeah,
story.
but he also just has a very stubborn side to him. He's a very weird kind of guy who I actually heard in an interview once that he was so cryptic that often the team didn't even realize what he was trying to say. And it was Yoshiaki Koizumi, it's always Koizumi, who he would be the one who would have to translate, like, okay, this is what Miyamoto's actually saying.
Oh goodness. I'm excited because this game's coming out like 3 days after my birthday, which same date as Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. I realized. So yes. um,
Why didn't we put that on our list? Well, there's new Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope DLC. I guess we could retroactively edit in some of the footage. They didn't show much. They just said, hey, there's this new area to explore,
for the
and kind of just
DLC,
left it at that.
was it 2? Number the second DLC? Is that 4?
I think so, because the first one was the Tower of Doom.
And now this one's a new area, and then third one
And I
forgot
think
what
the
third one is. The
fourth
one
one,
is
or
on
the,
Raymond. I think fourth one's
yeah.
Raymond.
Well, because the Rabbids started out as a Rayman spin-off on the Wii, so of course they'd want to bring him back when he was the one that started it all.
Yeah.
So getting back to Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I'm just excited to be able to play another 2D Mario game again. That's
Same.
actually new.
Do you think this is going to be online, or do you think it's going to be like all the others and just be like local play and
Uh,
everyone has to be in the same room?
well, considering that Super Mario 3D World Switch port added online multiplayer, I think they could do it. They just are going to have to make sure it's better than when Super Mario Maker 2 tried to do it, because that was abysmal.
Yeah, and Super Mario 3D World Online. It's good for some people. For me, it's not. I mean, obvious reasons.
Skyly and I managed just fine when we did the final level, but that was because we're both Americans.
I wasn't too bad with some Americans, but certain times it will like lag and stuff. But I wouldn't be mad if they made an online port for Wonder. It would just be interesting how it would play out.
Yeah, hopefully they let people like have their own screen or something like that, because that was something that was great about the Wii U that the Switch has kind of just ignored.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait for this game.
One thing, I think one thing that I heard on one of your streams, I won't say who said it, but one of the people in your streams said that she was disturbed about Mario turning into an elephant, which I was like, of all the things to be disturbed about, why that? Like, in Paper Mario 2, Peach, for crying out loud, got naked on several occasions. How are people not making a fuss about that?
Have you seen the feedback in the community for Mario being an elephant?
No, I typically try to stay away from Twitter.
People are not happy. That's the only thing they
Why?
don't like. I think it was just random and awkward. I think
But
that's
the whole game.
I
The
guess.
whole game is random and
I know,
awkward.
obviously, but I think just an elephant of all things, people were like, why an elephant?
I mean, what if it's a callback to Flood, where Mario can use his nose to, like, attack things with water, similar to Super Mario Sunshine, and now people are like, you know what, Flood was actually cool all along, and we unfairly judged that game.
I said,
Hey, now that I think about it, what if they bring back Flood?
oh my gosh.
Wouldn't that be cool to have in a 2D Mario game?
I said I didn't mind it. I thought it was weird, but I was like, it's not the worst thing they could pull out. I did say in a later stream afterwards that another animal that I think would be better and it would and funnier would be a cheetah. See how fast Mario can run.
Well, the cheetah would probably, they'd say it was too similar to the cat because a cheetah is a species of cat, whereas elephant, like, what's even come close to that? Like, Mario's never turned into a hippo. The only thing I can think of is it might be a nod to Kirby 64, where Kirby turned into like this hulk of rock, but I feel like that's just stretching it.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
I mean, if another thing I'd like to say is this isn't the first time Mario's gone in very weird directions in his games. Like, I think people just aren't used to it because Nintendo has been so overprotective. But back in the day, like, you take Super Mario Land 2, there was a level that took place inside Mario's groin. There were several scenes in Paper Mario 2 where Peach got naked. There was a topless party member. There's a lot of stuff in the old Mario games that was very, very risque. And people are complaining about an elephant when they don't complain about that stuff. Like, you guys don't know what Nintendo used to allow in their games.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, we have 1 minute left before our countdown timer runs, and then we have to do the outro. So, did you have any last words about the game that you wanted to say before it turns out that you're dead wrong and Nintendo releases an announcement saying, psych, we're removing the elephant because of fan feedback. We're just gonna let Mario turn into a dog instead.
I hope we get another trailer before the game comes out, or like it's just something else because I want to see how Bowser looks in this game. If Bowser's the villain, I would assume he is. It's pretty obvious.
Hopefully Sonic is added to the game as maybe like DLC. That would be cool.
Because I do hope we get like another little like mini trailer or just something else, because it'd be nice to have something else while we wait for the game to come out. Because I just want to see what Bowser looks like, because everyone else has like, because it's a unique art style rather than what they are used to. So I want to see how Bowser looks in this. How much you want to bet Bowser's ultimate battle is going to be him being big?
I mean, they did it in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, so I don't see why it wouldn't be done again, but just better.
Let's hope. Let's see if it'll do better, because the Wii one is one of the best ones. So let's see how they'll do. If they'll do it like they did with Super Mario Bros. U, or if they'll do it even better than the Wii.
Yep. So that about wraps up our interesting discussion of Nintendo's past and how they're coming together to be like, you know what? I think we're willing to like jump back into those wild and wacky days.
Yes. Yeah, it feels good. This is a good direct. I think a lot of people will be happy. You know, you've got the Pikmin fans that are happy. You've got the old Mario fans to be happy. You've got Sonic. You've got Persona. You've got Pokemon. Like everyone.
You got farming sims.
Oh yes, the farming sims. It's not a Nintendo Direct, it's a farming simulator game.
Yeah. I do think this direct was okay. Like, the stuff that it had that was good was really good. But a lot of people online are saying it was basically a Mario and Pikmin direct, and I agree. But as a Mario fan, I'm not complaining about that, because I do think that's pretty amazing, especially because I had been saying for so long, like, will this finally be the year where Nintendo doesn't put out a Mario game? Why it took them until June to even announce one is beyond me. Like,
yeah.
maybe I don't know what they were thinking. Nintendo, you can never tell what they're thinking.
I actually thought there was going to be some Zelda news, like a DLC or something, in this direct, but nothing.
I've said this quite a few times, and I will continue to say it. I am almost positive, not 100%, but almost positive Tears of the Kingdom won't get DLC, because one, it's already $70, and two, it's already such a massive game, and three, they already included a lot of stuff from Breath of the Wild's DLC that you can just get in the game without using an amiibo. So I think they're probably learning from locking so much stuff behind a paywall, and they're probably also realizing, like, Breath of the Wild got a lot of flack when it announced that it was having DLC, because people were like, no, Zelda games can't have DLC. That's a forbidden practice. Then they changed their mind when Hyrule Warriors had it. But I think they're probably figuring, okay, if people are paying $70, they want a complete game. They don't want a game that's going to be fixed later.
Yeah.
And what would they even add for DLC? The game's already massive.
Exactly.
It has 3 layers of Hyrule to explore and no loading screens between them. How much more do you guys want from these developers? We've gotten to the point where people don't want a finished game anymore. They're like, it has to have DLC or it's a terrible game. And I missed that. When you would go to the store to pick up Twilight Princess, and that would be the game. No bugs, no updates, just here it is. This is a masterpiece of a Zelda game. And then a better Zelda game comes out and people are like, ew, what is this? So do you have any closing words that you'd like to give to my audience? And then I can give closing words to your audience for your video?
I'm happy that we got something, because you know this whole month you had so many other game directs. You had the PlayStation, you had the Summer Game Fest, you had Xbox,
Sonic Central.
you had Sonic just came out. You had Xbox, Capcom, PC. You had so many directs, and all we were waiting for was, is Nintendo gonna do something? And they did. And the main thing I said was, I want a new 2D side scroll for Mario, and they did. So I am pretty.
And we still didn't get a new F-Zero.
No, we'll get it someday. And they confirmed that E3 is cancelled for next year and 2025. So.
Oh, good. I was getting tired of E3.
So now we just got to expect every June that a bunch of gaming companies are going to throw directs at us. Yes, thank you for watching. These afterglows are a lot of fun to do, so you will see them more often. And if they're not with Paul, then well, I don't care. He has to do it whether he likes it or not.
I'll be able to do the afterglows. It's just if Nintendo schedules a direct when I'm working, then I don't want to lose money.
Exactly. Yes. That's just how it goes, unfortunately.
In this economy, right?
Exactly.
Alright, well you folks take care, have a blessed day, and I hope you'll show up at Peggle's Zero Escape streams. Bye-bye!
Yeah, bye!